Hello, everybody. This is Jeffrey Daniel here with another short vortex. Once again, off the fly. Today is the 26th of May, 2026, according to that Gregorian calendar. And you know, I always bang on that Gregorian calendar because that's the timeline that they've given us to live on. That is not even really our natural timeline. So, anyway, I felt compelled to come on here and respond to something. I haven't been on here for a little while because I've been busy touring with Shalimar, and I want to thank all the people who came out to, to jam with us and spread the love on the cruise that we did, and also in Oakland, California, at Yoshi's, at the Hard Rock Casino in Gary, Indiana, along with Miss Stephanie Mills. We performed with Stephanie Mills for the very first time. We performed with her. And also in Nashville, Tennessee. My God, people came out. They showed up and showed out everywhere. We had a great time. Myself, Howard Hewitt, and Carolyn Griffey. And we're on our way to the UK and Paris and Holland to continue our golden anniversary tour. This is the 50th anniversary tour for Shalimar. Shalimar began in 1976, but we were officially released in 77. But I was signed to Soul Train Records in 76, and Shalimar began in 76, but it wasn't until 77 that we're actually out there, but 76 was the beginning. So anyway, what I want to respond to is this. I'm hearing that the Donald Trump administration, and let me get one thing clear before I begin. I'm not here to bash Trump. I'm not a Trump basher. I'm not a Republican basher. I'm not here to, vilify any side or one side. When you have a country, you have the freedom to choose whatever political affiliation you feel you want to be associated with. So if you want to be a Republican, that's your prerogative. If you want to be a Democrat, that's your prerogative. If you want to be independent, that's your prerogative. We should not be enemies. We should not be the antithesis of each other because we're choosing opposing political party. But that's the way things have turned out in this country. It's becoming very extreme to the point that Democrats don't really care. I don't think Democrats have a thing against Republicans. I think they have it against the MAGA, the people who they call the MAGA, the people who are just following anything in any policy that administration throws down, regardless to who it offends, who it disenfranchises, who it kills, who it attacks. And that's the reality. That's where we're at right now, you guys. So what I'm specifically responding to is this new policy where any immigrants from another country that happen to be in America, legally, you can have a job, you can have a family here, you can have a home, car, business. But if your green card is in process right now, they want you to pack up and leave this country and go back to your country of origin until your application has been finalized. Now, under normal circumstances, that would be a normal thing because when I was in the UK once and I was staying there and I wanted to apply for my working visa, they said I had to go back to my country of origin. And I did that. And it was done within a couple of weeks. And I went back in. In the old days, I could have stayed in that country and had it done. But they have a new policy where, because I was changing from a tourist visa to a working visa. So if you change the status of your visa, that could be a normal thing. But in this climate now and what's going on with the ICE agents going after immigrants and, supposedly it was originally going after illegal immigrants, okay? With Trump's policy of, cleaning up the country of illegal immigrants. Then they just started going after anyone, even American citizens. In fact, 2 American citizens have been killed by ICE agents. I'm not sure if there's more or not, but we know for sure that 2 American citizens, not immigrants, not illegal immigrants, not legal immigrants, 2 American citizens have been killed by ICE agents. You can argue over the circumstances, whose fault it was, this and that. No. Look at the final analysis. The final analysis is 2 American citizens were killed on the streets by ICE agents. Okay, so the people who may leave the country to go to their country of origin because they're thinking they're doing the right thing and they're following the rule of law, okay. When they get to their country, do you know how many people that will be? I would imagine it's probably tens of thousands of people who are on that list. Do you know how long the process will take? Because they've got so many applicants to go through. There'll probably be people separated from their families, their loved one, their business, their homes, their cars, or whatever. It could be months or it could be years. And their excuse is going to be, well, we're working on it. Do you know how many people we have that are in line that we're working on? So it's going to take time. And these people are going to be torn away from their life that they have been building here over the months or years leading to this new policy. This is a precursor for worser things to come. Now, when I said on my earlier podcast, I said that Trump is playing by Hitler's playbook. Some Republican people, some MAGA people got offended and left a little, not a lot of people, just one or two. How dare you compare him to Hitler? I didn't say Trump was Hitler. I didn't compare him to Hitler. I said he's playing by Hitler's same playbook. The first thing Hitler did when he got into power was he dismantled all democratic institutions in Germany to give himself full control. He went after certain immigrants. As we know, the Holocaust that, ensued from that. He went after all of his enemies, all of his adversaries, or anyone that was against him. You couldn't say anything. He formed a brown shirt party, which led to the Nazi party. And what did they do? They were doing his every bidding, going after people, doing this. Now, we know that there was an insurrection on that January 6th, was it? Is it January 6th or 7th insurrection? We know that happened. And for him to walk away from it like he had nothing to do with it, when we saw him stand on the podium and said, you have to go down to that Senate building and fight for our rights. We have to fight. And they're walking away like he had nothing to do with it. He's not culpable for that. Okay. He set the ICE agents out onto the streets of America, into Minneapolis and other places, and they began attacking people, including American citizens. He's not culpable for that either. Look at the final analysis. Look at what, regardless to what the intentions are, but look at what has transpired from these policies. They're anti-American. They say they're going after the foreigners. They say they're going after this and that. But we American citizens are bearing the brunt of it. Why is this bringing to mind so strongly for me is because I was touring around the country with Shalimar, and every time I check into an airport, I'm going through a security measure that was set in place after 9/11. Now, as I said, look at the final analysis. Whether you believe it is a conspiracy or this and that, if it was an inside job or outside job, but they set in place these very strict homeland security measures that are still affecting us today. No one's hijacking planes now. We're not going to try to hijack a plane, but we have to go through all this very strict scrutiny because they want to make sure that we have to take everything out of our pockets, and they x-ray anything we're carrying on the plane. They're not just looking for bombs. They're not just looking for weapons that you can use to hijack. They're lining us up to make sure that they can see everything you carry on with you, how much money you have on, whatever. So now we're totally naked. We're totally bare. Let's go to this autonomous cars that they have, that they're putting on the roads. These self-driving autonomous cars means when you order them, you have to order who you are, your destination, where you're going to go, and the place they want to be picked up at. That gives them total control of all your movements. So if they implement this and get rid of individual cars, which they're talking about in the future, and if all transportation is autonomous like that, they're going to know where you're going before you go. They're going to know where you are before you leave. Smart homes, smartphones, letting them know the moment you walk into your house, the moment you leave your house, the moment you turn on this, turn on that, how much money you're using, how much this and that. They want total control over everything that we're doing. And this is what's going on with this whole policy of getting all of the immigrants out, because some of these people have a right to vote, and that lessens his opposition. So why is a country that is built on immigrants, that was built by immigrants? Trump's wife was in this country illegally until she finally got processed. I think his mother was too, because his mother came from Scotland. So if you have family members that have experienced such a process like that, how can you be so unempathetic to other American citizens, or people who are trying to be, or people who are already in this country doing good things, doing well? They're in communities, they're working, they're paying taxes, they either have families, jobs, they're not illegal, they're not drug dealers, they're not murderers and rapists like he says all immigrants are. He's trying to allude that all people from Latin countries are this country or that country. And then the one thing that's really disturbing me is he's bragging about the fact that he is making Cuba suffer. The citizens of Cuba are suffering right now because he's put sanctions against them and embargoes against them. He knows that they don't have electricity. He knows that they're not having gasoline delivered to them. He knows they're not getting medicine supplies and that. Even if you don't agree with that country's policies, of their leaders' policy, why would you make the entire citizens suffer like that? Children, pregnant people, old people. So this is where we are. And it's going unabated. I mean, we talk about these things, they report it on the news, but who's doing anything about it? I know some people are trying to pass certain, things against him, like to try to bring him to court for this and that and that and that. But but look, these things are still going on in the meantime. It's going on and on and on. The Democrats, they're talking about impeachment. They're talking about the Article 25 or something like that, or whatever it is, 15 or 25. I'm paraphrasing. I forgot what it is in the Constitution that should disqualify him for being the president because of the way he started the war in Venezuela and the way he started the war in Iran, the things that he is just doing, like he has total reign to just do whatever he wants to do. Like this is his country. Like he wants to put his face on our passports. Like this is his country. That's why he likes Putin, because Vladimir Putin, he's a long-running president. He's extending his term. That's why he likes Benjamin Netanyahu. That's why he likes Kim Jong-un of North Korea. These guys are like dictators, and they stay in office extended times. We've already heard whispers about him doing a third term. He wants to stay in office because he's afraid of what's going to happen once he gets out. He still has a lot of other court cases standing against him. And another court case just came up of another sexual abuse case or something like that. I mean, it's all these things. So anyway, you guys, all we can do is pay attention to what's going on in the meantime, because it's like there's no checks and balances that are happening in this country that's keeping this government in check. And then people who speak out, they're being canceled. Is it Steve Colbert? His show's going off the air. And people who are online speaking truth to power, their accounts are being canceled. So be careful. Stop celebrating all this AI business, because this stuff is meant to give them complete control over every area of our lives. How we speak, how we think, how we express ourselves, how we move, how we spend, how we, that's, so be careful, you guys. Yes, there's some advantages of AI. Yes, it serves certain purposes. Everything isn't going to be as innocuous as you think it's going to be. They have some very, very deceptive agendas behind using this technology. So be careful. So what can we say? We just have to keep our eyes on what's going on. But this whole policy that's going to uproot all these people who are here, excuse me, in the country, and they're going to have to go back to their country of origin and wait for their green cards to be processed after they were already here. They've already been in the country, either in school, either working, either, they say even spouses, even if you have children, it doesn't matter. Get up and go back to your country until we finally decide to process your paper. America is morphing into something that we've never known. And there's whispers of banks collapsing and the American economy is going to collapse because of the things that he has done to distance itself from not only our allies, but even the countries that have been waiting for their chance to take that spot. You know, every empire falls at one point, and we may be watching the end of the American reign or the Western dominance over our planet. I think this is the end of the Western dominance on our planet, and that table's going to turn. And that's what we're watching, you guys. So in the meantime, as I always say, spread the love. Let's make love great again. And let's hope for the best, because things are getting very, very dismal. They're getting very, very, wow, what can we say? My heart goes out to any of the people who are going to have their lives uprooted with this new policy. And, wow, this is deep. This is deep. Jeffrey Daniel, I'm here in California, back to my home place, and I've been having a wonderful time with Shalimar. I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and spent a week there. I haven't been there in years. I grew up there in high school. I started my first band and dance group there, and I reconnected with people there. Last Sunday, I had to go to 4 different churches there because different members of my band went to different churches. So I had to go to 4 churches because it's the only Sunday I had there. And I just had the best time with I knew the pastors there, members of the congregation. We went to a jam session with the band and watched other people play, and we had a good time. It was amazing to reconnect with that. And they have a museum there, and they even have me in the museum, and they're asking for other articles from me to actually put in the museum there. And that's a great honor. So I'm so blessed, you know. Myself and the DeBarge family, Greg Williams of Switch, and Al Green is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You know, there's a lot of people who came out of Grand Rapids. So anyway, you guys, I'm trying to enjoy my time here in America, but listening to all these things that are happening now, it's crazy. And the rest of the world is looking at America like, what? We're supposed to respect that seat of the presidency of America, and I respect the seat of the presidency. It was supposed to be one of the most highest seats on the planet, but what has happened to it? The person that's in the seat, we respect the seat of the presidency, but are we respecting the person that's sitting in that seat? The rest of the world is not. They're not reporting properly how many Americans have died over there in Iran. In fact, in Israel, they're saying that if you were to film the damage that was being done by them, by the Iranian missile attacks, they would put you in jail. So what is that saying? Even America, they're saying that they wanted the FCC or whatever, to take away the broadcasting license of stations that were reporting the real casualties and damage that was happening to the American battleships and to the American soldiers. Why go through all that trouble to try to hide what's really going on? These guys, these are unprecedented times. We don't know what's going on. And with the AI technology, they're showing things we don't know if what we're looking at, if it's real or not. It's getting crazy. It's getting really crazy. So we just have to hold on to whatever sanity we have. And Americans, I want to say this to people of any country, but especially Americans, don't drink the Kool-Aid, you guys. We're not each other's enemy. We're not each other's enemy. Don't fall for that. That's what they want. Divide and conquer. That's how they're going to take us over. And you guys standing against us, you're going to suffer too. And us standing against you, we're all going to suffer. because that plays into what how they want things to go so that they can control things. Come on, wake up. Okay, I don't want to get too winded with this, but there's one more thing I want to say. I was thinking of. We went through school, and in school they told us that the last thing we should do is resort to violence. If you have any type of, misunderstanding, you should always handle it peacefully, amicably. And then they say, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. So, okay, fine. But yet, we see our leaders have the inability to handle things with diplomacy. So if your country does not agree with mine, we're just going to come and blow everything to smithereens. Hospitals, schools, churches, residential quarters, power infrastructures. They're just going after everything, blowing everything up because that country is not agreeing with you. Eventually, there's going to come to some agreement. Something's going to capitulate and end it. And after, you're going to look back and see all the lives and property and businesses and everything that was damaged just because you couldn't sit down and come to agreement over something, or you didn't like the way that they don't agree with you. And then they say sticks and stones don't break my bones, and words will never hurt me. But yet we have a president that any nighttime TV show host tells a joke about him. He's going after them to get them off the air. When does a president sit up and watch every comedian and TV show, and if anybody makes a joke about them, he goes after them. He tweets about them. He starts making all these derogatory statements of, he's not funny. He never was funny, and I never liked him anyway, and blah, blah, blah. You're the president. You're supposed to let that roll off of your feathers like water, What has happened to the seat of the presidency of the United States of America? That's what the rest of the world is asking. What happened to America? Wow. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. I love you all, as I always say. I love you all. I thank everyone who's coming out to celebrate with Shalimar. And I'm just wishing the best for everybody. Spread the love. Make love great again. I love you all. Peace out.